How are we doing? How are we doing? Went to the grocery store. Let me show you what I got. It was just a quick run. Trash bags, a few command strips, only 2 pre-made food things, and 2 little Easter basket type things that I'm gonna put in. Little magnets. That's it. That's all I got. $121.
Welcome back. So what about these tariffs, right? Now, rumor has it there's a deal on the table with the US and China. Is that good news? Maybe. Some people seem to think that this actually may hurt us more than it helps. And is this actually what Trump was trying to do far as get us more favorable trade on behalf of the US, or is this Trump just retreating on the 140% tariffs he put on China back to something more reasonable at the expense of our pocketbooks?
If you are the Chinese, what have you learned about the art of the deal?
China punked the administration, and the administration backed down. That's no surprise because we've seen that happen over and over and over again.
Pathetic, weak, and humiliating. Donald Trump was just broken before the entire world in his disastrous trade war with China as Donald Trump pulled back most of the tariffs imposed on China after Donald Trump said that those tariffs were going to bring so much manufacturing back to the United States, and it was going to make the United States so rich that we wouldn't even need income taxes in the United States anymore because those tariffs would replace it. Donald Trump effectively surrendered as he was broken before the world. If you want to see how China is viewing this, look at how its state regime media is talking about it today. They are posting cartoon images like this of an Uncle Sam character getting uppercut in the face by a character representing tariffs.
Because like myself and millions of other Americans, I'm tired of paying these high-ass prices for everything. Now, the administration feels this is a good step in the right direction. Other people is like, this is still, even at a 10%, 30%, whatever, lowered rate of tariffs, that's still an increase compared to where we started on already existing high inflation.
So I wonder who threw the towel in, guys. The United States or China? Who threw the towels in? Let me see if I can come up with my own hypothesis on this. So our ports started running empty. Shipping containers was coming back from China 100% empty. Truck drivers started to lose their jobs. Truck drivers started to get laid off. And on top of that, when the US put the tariffs on China, China exposed the US. The designer name brand clothing stores. And now it's been said that the US and China has reached an agreement to slash the tariffs for approximately 90 days until they can come up with a solution. So it seems like the closer that it gets to this 75-day extension on this TikTok ban, people are getting a little bit nervous. And so I'm just kind of wondering who threw the towel in. Because you guys remember, it was said that our president was in negotiations with China. China responded by saying they weren't in negotiations with anyone in the US. But now all of a sudden, they reached an agreement. What's going on, man? Like, what is going on? Who threw the freaking towel in? Again, if I had to take I'm not the smartest person in the world. I'm not, and I've been told that. But if I had to take an educational guess, I would guess that the United States actually threw the towel in. Because you see, China don't need us, guys. Remember, China moved on. They went on to other countries to fill the void for the US. The US needs China. Them other countries, ports didn't run empty like the United States ports went empty. So it seems to me like the United States needs China. And just my opinion, that's a bad sign. If we threw the towel in over in the United States, that is bad. That makes the United States look extremely weak. It makes the United States look extremely vulnerable. And one thing that we cannot do is appear weak and vulnerable in the eyes of other countries. Most importantly, we can't look like we need other countries for us to survive over here in the United States. Now, I'm not saying that the United States threw the towel in. I'm not trying to say that China threw the towel in. I'm just saying that I personally feel like the United States was ready to make a deal. But at any rate, regardless who threw the towel in, this is going to be good for us. That means the market's going to go back sky high. People are going to make a lot of money. Maybe we are going to avoid this recession. Maybe our president realized just how much damage it was going to be, done to the United States. And the damage was already taking effect.
Look, y'all, it's so motherfucking bad in California. Now, when the hell have you ever seen an owl with candy that look like this? Tell me, when? When have you ever seen something like this? That's what I thought.
So what are the people saying about this? Do the people feel like this is a relief, this is progress, or do we feel like he went through all of this, fight with China, fight with these other countries just to put a deal on the table that is less favorable for us?
Right now, truckers across the country are reporting a really disturbing trend. The hours are being cut, like I said, the loads are disappearing, and the freight rates are dropping. And it's not just rumors. Major ports like in Seattle and Los Angeles are seeing a noticeable slowdown. Containers are sitting or they're simply not arriving. And it's a direct result of what's going on with the trade war and new tariffs. And when truckers aren't working, it's not just about them. It means that there's going to be less food, less fuel, and fewer essentials are going to be moved around the country for you and I. And what most people don't get as well is that truckers are really the heartbeat of the American economy. If the shelves are stocked, it's because a trucker typically got it there. If your fridge is full, thank a truck driver. This is how food shortages can sneak up on a nation, not just through a sudden catastrophe, but through a slowdown of logistics, a breakdown of it that people usually don't choose to pay much attention to. If ports are empty and truckers are idle, the freight is drying up, you need to ask yourself, how long before your local store starts cutting back as well? What happens when the restocks take longer and when items disappear without warning? This is how it starts, and it's already in motion. You can see it going on everywhere. When you turn on the news, people are talking about it everywhere. Your friends and family might be starting to say something. You might be seeing it in the stores already, and it's supposed to get worse in the very coming weeks. In fact, before the end of May, most people will be seeing this take place at a store near you.
I hate to break it to some of you, but tariffs were never intended to transform the U.S. economy, and the recent U.S.-China trade deal demonstrated exactly why. Because there were two things that were missing from that trade deal. One, any mention or commitment by China to reshore U.S. manufacturing or to build plants in America or to become more of a consumer-oriented economy. No commitments. And number two is generating enough tariff revenue to replace or eat into income taxes. We lowered the effective tariff rate on China from 145% down to 30%, and the only concession China made was agreeing to pay a little more than every other country because of their participation in the fentanyl trade. So they're at 30%, whereas the baseline is 10%. So yes, that tariff rate is a little more than what it was under Biden, for example, but it's hardly enough to shift, at least in a major, meaningful way, manufacturing from China to America. I'm sure there are small businesses who have been spooked by this that will reassess and reorient their supply chains, but it's not going to be a massive transformational overhaul, as many people were arguing was Trump's grand master plan to bring manufacturing completely back to America, to totally transform the economy. Another strand of rhetoric was about income taxes. Trump has repeatedly said we're going to be so rich, there's going to be a golden age for America, we're going to be bringing in all this tariff revenue. But if you look at what income taxes represent in the US economy, they make up about 54% of the US revenues, and that is about $2 trillion depending on the year. Double check my math, but we were making approximately $190 million per day before this US-China deal was announced, where it was 145% tariffs on China. That would have taken over 10,000 days to reach what we annually generate in revenue from income taxes. Replacing tariffs with income taxes was never feasible, even with the prior rates. We would have to significantly tariff the world in order to generate $2 trillion annually from tariffs. At the end of the day, Trump's strategy really goes like this: impose tariffs, cause chaos and market volatility, reduce or remove tariffs, and act like you've won after a series of negotiations, even if you pretty much return to the same place where you started from. To the untrained eye, it may look like a lot's happening because there's all this chaos and movement and attention on the negotiations. But when you actually compare what happened from where we were to where we ended up, nothing really changed except the US conceding quite a bit and China giving us really almost nothing.
So what do you guys make of this? As an average everyday citizen, do you feel like this is a step in the right direction? Do you feel like there could be some price reductions, some lower interest rates, some more favorable prices at the grocery store, cheaper cost of goods, better employment opportunities? Does this recent move help any of that for us? I don't know. I can't be too sure at this point. Put your comments below. Let's talk about it. This is Marcus Reacts. Talk to you soon.